It's a pleasure to be here today with a good friend and one of our valued Weil leaders, Jeff Saferstein. Jeff joined us about 5 years ago from another top law firm and is one of the co-heads of our world-renowned Restructuring Department, resident here in New York. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jeff.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Okay. As you may know from having seen these podcasts, I like to start out by asking a little bit about your personal journey. Could you tell me a little bit about what drew you to the profession and ultimately to specialize in the area of restructuring?
So I wish I had a real juicy story to tell you, but as I was growing up, I used to debate a lot with my grandmother on all kinds of topics. And so when I would go visit, she would introduce me to her friends as her grandson, the lawyer. And that started at about 8 years old, 10 years old. So when I went to college and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, it kind of the back of my mind.
Grandma was in your ears.
And so I decided to take the LSATs and go to law school. It's kind of as simple as that. And then what led me to restructuring, I sort of fell into it. I think as a lot of law students, you go into law school thinking you're going to be a litigator. It's what you see on TV. Right. It's juicy.
It's what you learn in law school, too.
Exactly. You read cases all the time. Right. And so when I started interviewing, thinking I was going to be a litigator, I happened to interview with a restructuring lawyer. And they started to talk about the practice and the fast-paced nature of it, the fact that it was a combination of litigation and corporate. And I did like some of the classes I was taking in law school on the corporate side. The economy was in a down cycle, and so I decided to become a restructuring lawyer.
That's great, because I've spoken to many senior restructuring leaders across these podcasts, and it's always interesting to hear the different reasons that people gravitated toward restructuring. You've had a very successful career at one of our top peer firms before making what I would think is the very wise decision to transition to Weil several years ago. So can you tell me a little bit about why Weil?
So I'd been across the table from Weil on a number of matters over the years. Weil was in every restructuring that yes. I was in, right? And so when I was thinking about leaving, there was only really one firm that I thought about potentially going to. Obviously, Weil has a deep history in restructuring with Harvey, being kind of the dean of the bankruptcy bar. And so when I started to have conversations, it was an easy one for me. I really liked the people. I thought that I could be helpful with some of the young talent that Weil has in the both associate and partner rank. And so I didn't look at any other firms. I didn't talk to anybody else, and it was an easy decision.
Well, it was an easy decision for us, too, because as you know, we looked for people who fit in substantively as well as culturally. And substantively, we knew about your reputation, and culturally, it was a no-brainer. So thank you for making that decision.
It was an easy one.
Yeah. We're certainly glad that you made the move, and you've been a phenomenal addition to the firm from both, as I said, a business and cultural perspective. As someone who's been doing this for a long time at the highest level, what would you say, if anything, that has changed in terms of client expectations of their law firms, and how are you adapting to these changes?
So clients have gotten much more sophisticated, certainly on the PE sponsor side. And a lot of my clients are in that sponsor world. I help them with their portfolio companies, for instance. So they've gotten much more sophisticated, and I think they demand that out of us. We now have to they want us to be really innovative in how we're thinking about solving their problems. And that has just evolved over time. So it's not just, we're going to put your company into Chapter 11 and restructure. Like, what else can we do to help you? And they really want to see us thinking outside the box and coming up with new and better ways of helping them restructure, their companies.
And they couldn't come to a better place or a better lawyer. That's a really valuable perspective on the market over time. And of course, things keep shifting. And it's our job to be looking around the corners so our clients don't have to. On that note, what would you say are the key things for corporates to be thinking about in the distress space? And even if they're not in an actual distressed situation, what are some things that they should be keeping top of mind?
So I've been a broken record on this for years. I think that our clients need to start thinking way in advance of potential issues that they may have. I think if you act early, you get the best results. And when you're not under pressure, either from liquidity perspective or some other, existential problem that you're having. So I think my advice is to start to think early. think out of the box. What can I do to help a situation that might come up in 3, 4, 5 years? And so we see that in a lot, just not with maturities that might be coming up down the road, but other problems that you may foresee, potential litigation down the road. How can we, fix the problem now when we're not under stress? And I think that's my advice. I've been telling people that.
That's a hard message to get across to clients because they oftentimes don't want to admit that there is a potential problem looming. But it is great advice, and I think we've been seeing clients follow it more and more. I think as they get experience, unfortunately, with one or more portfolio companies getting into difficulty, I think they learn from experience. So this series is called Leaders. So let me ask you now just a little bit to talk about your personal leadership style and how you're motivating and cultivating talent in the junior partner ranks and across the entire team.
So I'm a hands-on person, maybe old school. I like to have meetings. I like to have people come.
Old school is good school.
Yeah, I like to have people come into my office and discuss issues, discuss a markup of a document. I think people use email way too much, and I think the email back and forth about, can you make this change? Can you make that? I fear people aren't really learning. So I like to have people come in the office. I like to debate issues. I don't know. I don't have the answers to every question, right? So I like to have that conversation.
And that's how we all learned. And I worry a little bit about that not happening as much as it should in the future. But I think people like you from the good school have to continue that's going.
No, exactly. And I like to give people opportunities. So pushing associates and junior partners to do more, to whether it be speak in court, whether it be, speaking to a client directly. I try to push people to have those experiences. I know they're all capable.
Right.
So
that's how you learn. You got to get pushed out a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's all great to hear and clearly makes me optimistic about our future. I'd like to round out our conversation by asking you something a little bit more open-ended, which is, who is a leader outside of the legal industry that you admire and why?
So that's a tough one. There are so many leaders that you could say, you look up to. Having just watched the Olympics, I'm going to use that. I see a lot of these amateur athletes that dedicate their lives to what they do. They don't make a lot of money, a lot of them. They sacrifice everything. It's once every 4 years. And you hear their stories. And, just having seen it, it was so motivating to me to actually hear their stories, see what they've accomplished. Some of them don't get medals, and yet they keep doing it. And so I really look up to those people.
No, I agree. Particularly if they disappointed, they have to wait another 4 years to try to achieve that goal again.
Yeah, it's not easy, and yet they keep doing it. You hear stories about people, this is their 4th Olympics, and you're like, wow, 16 years of this dedication and sacrifice to do what they love. But you have to look up to those people.
Absolutely. So we're going to change it up a little. I'm going to ask you a series of sort of quick questions, lightning round, and just the answers that come to your top of mind. Just let me have it. What's your go-to cuisine for a takeout dinner?
Oh, that's easy. Chinese.
Okay. Just on Sunday nights or on an additional?
Whenever I'm in the mood.
Okay. If you had not chosen law, what would you be doing now?
Well, as I said before, I didn't know what else to do. I would have to think I would be in either like a hedge fund or a private equity fund. I kind of like what I do, and so that's the business side of it. The real answer is I would like to think something on the water, whether it be a captain of a boat or something, but I don't know how realistic that is. So.
Maybe a professional golfer.
Yeah, I'm not that good.
What's your favorite vacation spot, the so-called happy place?
Yeah, anywhere in the Caribbean.
What's a personal or professional pet peeve?
Okay, so I should probably stick to professional so as not to get in trouble at home.
We don't want you to do that.
Yeah. It's got to be the use of email. As I said before, people need to pick up the phone and get things done sometimes.
What celebrity would play you in your biopic?
I think it would have to be Brad Pitt.
All right. Okay.
Why not?
Why not? I would say George Clooney. Why not? What's the best advice you've ever received from a mentor?
So this probably goes back to sports, and then really continued through my professional career, is to outwork everybody. There may be smarter people than you. There may be more talented people than you in something you're doing, but outwork everybody.
Couldn't agree with you more on that. What was your favorite high school extracurricular activity?
I wrestled in high scholl for
All
4
right.
years. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what I did.
What was your favorite TV show as a teenager?
No, you're just dating me.
Well, I'm a little older, so I can do that.
I watched Cheers was a big
Okay.
one back in the day.
All right.
I would like to say L.A. Law, but I think that's later in life. But yeah.
Okay. What is a bucket list item that you've yet to accomplish?
So there are a number of things on the list, but I keep going back to, and I have these conversations with my wife, I'd really like to go to Antarctica.
Awesome. Give me one song from your desert island playlist.
I'm a huge Dua Lipa fan. So anything Dua Lipa. I hate to say it.
Okay, that's
it's
okay.
not maybe my age group, but yeah, I love Dua
perfectly
Lipa
okay.
songs.
Well, thank you for doing this. This has been a lot of fun to do. I really appreciate you coming down and doing this.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.